welcome everyone. Today I'm really excited to be introducing you to one of my food friends, Joshua Siddiqui.
Hey Ansley, how's your day going?
Great. How is yours going?
Awesome, awesome. It's around 3 o'clock here in New York, and it's a very exciting day. And I'm excited to start this journey with you on letting our food friends know about the food brokering, and very, very exciting.
Yes, this is a topic that so many people reach out to me about. They're just not sure how to work with a food broker, when they should work with a food broker. And it's a really confusing piece for a lot of people. So that's exactly why I have you on here today, so that we can demystify this area of food brokerage. And, you are really such an expert in this space. So you're going to be opening up and sharing your insights with everyone inside the FAB community about how do you work with a broker? Is it right for you? And what does that really look like? So, before we jump into that, could you give us a bit of an intro about you? Who is Joshua Siddiqui and why are you here?
So I'm the founder of Joshua's Naturals. I'm a broker here on the East Coast, and it's been my passion for the past 15 years to just bring concept brands to the market and to bring healthy and trending brands to this East Coast corridor, as we'd call it.
And guys, Joshua is so great in this space. I know that he connects with people and helps them get in stores, but also, will give them all sorts of other advice as well in terms of packaging and just overall how to really operate a really successful, better for you food brand. So really excited to have you in here. Let's jump right into it. Josh, can you share with us, for anyone who isn't really sure even, like what a food broker is? What is a food broker? And are there different types of food brokers out there?
Yes, so basically a food broker, Ansley, is your partner. And the reason why I love that word partner is that all the brands that I specifically work with are my partners, and I really want to be involved with them. And it's very, very exciting. So basically, a food broker is your eyes and ears out on the streets. They're your relationship builders with your brand and their key retailers. And a food broker is very, very important. More than just a sales force, a food broker is there to submit your promotions to retailers, get your product in front of the category buyers for all their category reviews, and they're just relationship people and partners for your brand. So, in a nutshell, that is what a food broker is for a brand.
I love that. And maybe you can talk a little bit about why someone should work with a food broker, or why they might consider a food broker versus going on knocking all those doors themselves.
Of course. So the most important thing and the hardest thing in our industry is knowing all the right people to talk to. It could take you years and years to just get in front of that Wegmans buyer, get in front of that Whole Foods buyer. So it's very important to have a food broker that already has the relationships, has the ongoing meetings on a daily basis with that account. So that's the very important reason. And I always call it like the best bang for your buck to have a food broker is that you don't have to hire an inside sales team, that you can have an outside sales team, which is your partner broker.
And there are different types of food brokers as well, right? There's like, I know there might be international food brokers, and is there just like a general food broker? What should someone be looking for in terms of a specific type of broker, or is it just one type of broker overall?
Yes, so there is three types of food brokers. I majorly come under like the concept broker. I come over like as the healthy and organic food broker as well. And for example, like a concept broker, they'll really help you in your infancy stages when you're a really small brand. You really don't know what you're doing. You need help with packaging. You need help with like pack size. You need help with knowing how big of a product you can actually fit on the shelf. And even what's really exciting about the concept brokerage, which I really love and I'm very passionate about, is that you really know about the trends, what specific category a brand should go into, if they're into like vegan or they have to go into paleo, just the very, very exciting categories. And then when you're amongst like the healthy and organic food brokering, that's more of like a established brand. And what you do is you're still into the healthy and organic trends, but it's more of like an established food brokering that for brands, it's very how should I say? It's more of like you're established. You know what you are like asked for in the market. You know your category. You know where you are lined up in it, and then more of like a international food broker. Uh, as we all have relationships in this industry, the international food broker has relationships out in like, and I'm just going to pick out some real big areas like Europe, Asia. They know their specific territories, and those are probably one of the biggest territories that we have a lot of natural organic food going to. So you really want those experts in those categories to really just cover those markets. So that's what an international food broker would really do.
Very interesting. Yeah, I know a lot of people might just be out there looking for a food broker as a whole and not even really knowing that there's different types for specifically where they fit. So thank you for sharing that because it's really important that you're partnered, like you said at the beginning, with the right person who can represent you and your brand in the market. And now, what stage should people even be considering a food broker? I know some people, want to go right out the gates with a broker. Other people, they're just not sure when the right time is. Is there a right time in the business life cycle when you should be looking to engage a food broker to help you grow that distribution?
Of course. So the perfect stage to really start looking for a food broker is when you have your mission statement for your brand laid out, and an even more important stage of really looking for that food broker is when you have samples
Mm,
lined up, when you have all your sell sheets lined up, because really you want to make sure that that food broker is really passionate about your brand, that they're really out there fighting for your brand, and they're very just passionate about your brand. So just you got to make sure you have, as they call it, is your ducks in a row. Even a real important step as well is to have distribution set up. If you have distribution set up, that is really a huge gateway to helping out a broker to really get your product out there to his key customers and to the retailers out there.
got it. So, what I'm hearing from you is like really making sure that you are in a place where you can almost enroll your broker as if they were someone in your business, where they know what you're standing for as a company, what your strategy is, what your pricing is. You need to have all this figured out before you can give it to a broker, or they're not going to be able to represent you the way that you're hoping that they represent you. Is that right?
Of course, yeah, and very important as well, Ansley, is that you need to know like what territory you want to be in, what category you want to be in,
Mm,
and really you want to know where you see your brand, and you got to be very realistic. That's the one where whenever I'm talking to my concept brands, I always let them know you got to be very realistic. And of course, like everyone wants to be on the shelf at Whole Foods, everyone wants to be at Kroger, Wegmans, and of course, I want that for my brand as well. I want you to be everywhere, but is that realistic? No. And you got to really define where you need to be on shelf, and you have to really define on where you see your brand in the next
mm.
2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and even 6 months. The 6 month mile mark is a huge thing for a lot of brands. So you really got to come up with a strategy, and you got to see where you need to have your brand and just be very realistic.
I love that because, as you know, and most of the Fab community knows, I'm really big on having that strategy up front. You can't just be like, I have a product, let's just get it in Whole Foods. You need to have all your ducks in a row, figure out where you want to go, and be realistic because if you're shooting for Whole Foods without all that strategy figured out and expecting your broker to be the one to make that happen for you, you can be really disappointed if that doesn't happen. And it does not mean that the market doesn't want your product. It just might mean you're not ready just yet, but you can get there when you take that step back and have realistic expectations for, your brand as a whole and for your broker as well.
Yeah.
So, what can someone expect when they're working with a broker? How do they know that they are working with a really great broker? Like, what should this partner really be doing with a food company?
That's a very good question, Ainsley. So, the one thing that I love, and as you know, is that being involved with your community, going to trade shows, being there with your fellow team, and you got to really be involved. So, if you see a food broker, they're on the show floors, they're very active, they're visiting all types of brands to see the trends, to see what's new out there. That's very, very important to find a great broker, and even more so, and that's what I love about my business is word of mouth. Uh,
Mm.
it's a very small world, and we really support each other. And uh, I feel like the great people are always together, and it's really, really exciting. So, word of mouth is where I would say about 95% of my business comes from.
Mm.
Is I always get referrals all the time, so it's very good to look for referrals.
Got it. So, yeah, if someone's out there looking for a broker right now, ask around. Ask around your fellow food community, who others would recommend, who might be a great fit given where your business is right now. I love that. That's really key. And then what does that look like in terms of working with someone who is a food broker, in terms of rates too? I know that some people, I just have no idea what that rate is going to look like. How does a fee structure? I know that's really broad because everyone has different pricing in this area, but how does a fee structure, how is it typically set up with a broker and a food or beverage manufacturer?
Yeah, so there's basically two different scales of rates, Ansley. Is that when you're on as a concept broker, it'd be more of like a flat fee base. And
Mm.
then if you're on as a full-time full food broker selling to retail, there'd be a base commission, and then as well as a flat retainer that is charged.
Got it. And so with that as well, going back to that question before, at what stage should a company be, looking to a broker? Would you say that it's good for people to be looking for a broker then when I mean, we talked about it having like right at the beginning, being able to connect with a food broker, but would you still say that most people are coming to work with a concept broker when they're pre-revenue, when they are pre-profit? I know a lot of companies don't make a profit for the first little bit because there's just so much investment in the company. How, knowing that there's obviously fees here, how should people go about making sure that it doesn't, kill their margins or anything like that? Is that just something they should bake in from the beginning?
Of course. So there's definitely different things. So what you have to really see as a brand is that you have to see like your growth plan. Where do you see your company as a growth stage? And that really goes back to being realistic. You have to figure out what territory you want to launch your brand in, and then you have to figure out the marketing expenses behind hiring a broker to cover that territory.
Got it. Yeah, that's really helpful. And I know a lot of companies right out of the beginning, if you are at that stage right now where you're just getting ready to launch or you're still at the beginning pieces, make sure you're setting realistic pricing for your product to be able to work with someone like a broker so that you have that built into your margins right from the beginning. And then when you're going to retailers, that price that they're going to be, offering the product to consumers, you can feel really great about knowing that you're making great margin, that your broker is in there as well as part of your plan, and you're not struggling from a financial perspective, because I do see that a lot where people aren't building those investments into their overall pricing at the beginning, and then it ends up in a place where you recognize it's just not sustainable. So You hear me say this over and over again. Look at your numbers, make sure you're building all of those pieces in, and make sure you're building in the amounts that, you need to be able to invest in the success and growth of your business. And definitely having a broker represent your brand and having them as a partner is a great way to help you grow further faster in your business. Those are all the questions that I had about food brokers, Joshua. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with the community about how they can build really, really strong partnerships with a broker, or anything that they should consider as they, start their hunt with working with a broker, or just considering if it's right for their biz?
Yeah, so just a few key points is that you got to find someone that's very passionate about the business, someone that lives the business, someone that is very heavily involved. And that really goes back to just making sure that you're really seeing the person involved in the trade shows, very involved in the community, because we have a great natural food community here in the United States. It's truly amazing. We're a big community, a big family out here. So definitely reach out to your peers and your other industry colleagues for referrals on brokers, and it's a very, very exciting industry.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Joshua. If people want to connect with you, I'm going to make sure that those links are available. But where can someone find you if they have any more questions about food brokers?
Yeah, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, or reach out to me on my email. It's joshuanaturals@gmail.com. I love to be very personal with my brands that I represent, and it's very, very important for me to just have a personalized approach with every brand that I work with.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you, Joshua, for hopping in as a food friend in the Fab Brand community.
Thank you, Ansley.